This is a landmark day. I am a proud papa today. You betcha. We now own, check out around here. We now own the entire office building. Yeah. Isn't that awesome? Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention to you, I appreciate your effort, but why did the cake say "Happy Birthday, Marty"? It was on sale. Of course it was. All right. Should have said "Happy Birthday, Kevin," but the cake was on sale. What can I say? We're a low-budget operation. We'll get to that later. Hey, welcome. On this beautiful day. Man, we've had some fabulous weather in Niagara, haven't we? This is season 2, episode 24 already of the Niagara 411 Live with Sterry, that would be me. Powered by WeeStreem, that would be Kevin behind the camera that's trying not to fall as he walks backwards, as well as fueled by Gales Gas Bars Limited, and we're happy to have them on board as we are with Niagara Performance or Performance Heating and Air. We have NWIC, Niagara's high-speed internet provider, as well as Verge Insurance. And we are heading in right now to Fiddler's Poorhouse, once again, who are allowing us to inhabit their beautiful sun-splashed window on St. Paul Street. And come on in and we'll get this shindig underway. Happy to have you along for the ride today. Also, again, appreciation is due noting to all of you that contribute to Niagara 411's Facebook page. And Nick, as always, great to partner with you, and we'll give you an idea about what's coming up in the program right after this. Cheers. Hey, how you doing? Just getting myself plugged in here and wired for sound, literally. And again, welcome to this absolutely spectacular day in Niagara. And you may be watching because you get kicked off Sunset Beach. I don't know. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But first of all, I do want to, and you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen, Mayor Walter Senzik and the head of the LGBTQ community organization here in Niagara at St. Catharines Crosswalk. That was, as you'll see right there, Mayor Senzik says, "I'm disheartened to be writing this update, but here we are." Sometime over the last few days, the brand new Pride Crosswalk downtown was intentionally defaced. While I want to believe in the best of people, this kind of act is why we have Pride Month and why we have to continually support the Pride community to be seen, visible, and supported. Always a shame when the good works and fine efforts of people, for whatever reason, irrespective of whether it's Pride or anything else, people have causes and righteous initiatives, for the lack of a better word, and whether you are part of that group or not, whether you support that or not, I think respect is somehow the most important thing here. Respect other people's opinions and positions, although you may not agree with them. Isn't that what this is all about? Isn't that what this inclusivity is all about? And that is a picture that our executive producer and co-founder of WeeStreem, Kevin Jack, took this morning of the defacement, just one section of the defacement of the Pride Crosswalk, which is actually just down the street from us here on St. Paul Street. And Kevin just went down and snapped that. There's Kevin's silhouette against what is very, very obviously tire tracks. And those other ones you were looking at, Kevin, we were talking about, it looked like a motorcycle track, a tire track of some sort.
Nope, there's Scooter Dooter.
Wow, somebody likes their music loud.
That same guy rolls by every week at the same time.
I think so. I think he's just trying to get some street cred there.
Yeah, at least he's on schedule.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Lee, what you can't see in this photo is the third degree of it all, and you can kind of make it out that like whoever did this burnt it to the point that it's down about, I'd say, a quarter to half an inch into the asphalt.
So it actually dug down into the asphalt.
Dug down in, and my guess is that's a motorcycle tire. And
Yeah,
also
that's
the way that it appeared to exit. That skid exit is consistent, and then the width of the tire, as opposed to these, which are obviously car tires.
Yeah. All right, Kevin. Before we go, and so whoever you are, shame on you. Just shame on you. And it doesn't matter whether it's pride, like I said, or anything else. I don't care whether it's pride or cancer or rheumatism or hard of hearing or blindness. I don't care what the cause is. Respect other people. Just shame on you. Shame, 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 shame on you. Kevin,
Yes,
I know the cake said "Happy Birthday, Marty," and I apologize for that. But my assistant saw something on sale, and some people are slaves to bargains. What can I tell you? But I have a little. Can you make your way over here for just a second?
You got something?
Yeah, I got something.
Oh gosh, yeah. All right, yeah. Here, hold on.
All right, it'll only take a second. People won't mind.
All right.
All right.
Oh yeah. Oh, wow.
Happy birthday. All right, nothing special in there. You're not gonna get rich.
Wow, thank you, Lee.
You're welcome,
It
my
means
friend.
a lot. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right. So
Am I to open it now? Like,
you can open it now. Yeah.
Snake's gonna.
Oh no, there's no surprise. There's no bad karma. There's no good karma in it at all either. I mean, I'm on a budget too, So, but I hope you enjoy Marty's cake. Is all.
Oh, that's beautiful. Is that your puppers there?
I had one that looked like that. Yeah. Back in, he's no longer with us. We had him in British Columbia, and judging by his face, you might guess that his name was Brutus.
Here you go. Whole foods are best. I recommend a whole pizza followed by a whole cake. Happy birthday, and have a whole lot of fun working with you. From Lee. Thank you very much, Lee.
You are welcome,
It's
my
the first card I've received of the day, although I have a feeling my kids have been working feverishly. Our daughter loves arts and crafts, so I'll probably have something oversized and bedazzled.
Here's what I was thinking about on the way in. Now, way back in the caveman days, when I was a kid in school, we used to make cards for our parents on Mother's Day and Father's Day. And when I became a parent, my little kids, when they were in school at that age, also made cards for us. The teachers had them doing their crafts and trying to think of something nice to say about their parents. Here's my question for you, oh father of elementary school-aged children. With this homeschooling thing and all the COVID and whatnot, are you in charge of your kids making their own Father's Day cards?
Yeah. I actually had to leave the room the other day. I'm like, I don't think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be a surprise, Alex. But absolutely, they do it every year, whether it's Easter, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. It's part of the school curriculum. Okay, let's make Daddy a card or a gift or what
I love you. How do you say, I love you, Daddy, now I want a PlayStation? Like, That's good. Anyway, happy Father's Day to you as well. This is like a double whammy weekend for you.
It is, and growing up, my birthday always coincided with Father's Day for my dad, and now it coincides with me having Father's Day, and a good thing, my mom and my dad are actually coming down on Father's Day, so that's going to be great. We'll be celebrating my birthday.
Great.
I'll get to be with my father. We'll have 3 generations of Jack boys all together on Father's Day. So
that sounds like some sort of mafia movie, organized crime in Tennessee movie, the Jack Boys.
I know we got other stuff to talk about, but what about you? What about you on your Father's Day? You're a father yourself, but I know it's spread across.
Yeah, my sons are both out in British Columbia. My wife and I are going out for the birth of our 3rd grandchild in early July. So we'll have a chance to hook up then. Everything, when you're distanced from one another, and I don't mean COVIDly distanced, I mean geographically distant, dates take on less meaning. You just, dates become flexible with occasions, and you celebrate things when you can. So I know I'll get a call and a hi and how are you and whatnot, and we'll do the knuckle bump when we get out to British Columbia. And yes, we do have other things to talk about. I quickly want to pass on a thank you to you that are watching the program right now from Nancy Denbach, sales representative of Bold Realty, who we had on the program last week. And she wanted to encourage people to come out to the food drive, the North End Church Food Bank food drive that took place this past Saturday. And I drove there by myself, and it looked like it was pretty active. And Nancy got back to me on Monday or Tuesday and wanted to thank everybody for participating. So that's what I'm doing right now. They managed to land about, 1,650 pounds of food and almost $600 in cash. And for a drive like this, at this time of year, at this time in our society's evolution, that's awesome. And she was just so thrilled that it was supported like it was. So I wanted to pass that along to you. Thank you for showing up and making it a good day for the North End Church Food Bank. That's awesome. Kevin, we are getting ready to maybe go early into phase 2 of COVID. There's nothing really new to update people on except for the fact that our counts are down, but our acting, gosh, I wish we'd get rid of that title or get rid of whatever. Acting medical health officer in Niagara, Dr. Hergy, he's still hanging on to this Section 22 thing, and it's causing some angst. But I don't want to be too hard-handed here, because he honestly believes, I know, that he's acting in the best interest of Niagarans. Except we are still the single municipality in the entire province that has still some shutdown on top of the phase 1 opening. It's crazy. On top of that, I'm trying to remember all the things that I should mention to you so that you know how our sponsors are dealing with this. Here at Fiddler's Poorhouse, Dave McParian and his staff are open from Monday through Thursday from 3 in the afternoon until 2 in the a.m. Fridays and Saturdays here at Fiddler's, they will be open, and of course they've got that nice patio out back. Not for indoor dining yet, although phase 2 might be closer than we think, but open Fridays and Saturdays from noon until 2 a.m. All right, just wanted to mention that on behalf of Fiddlers.
And Lee, just want to throw up, may as well, we're talking a little COVID stuff, so here you go. Here are the current COVID statistics across Niagara.
So new cases on June 17th, 11. 276 are active. New resolved cases are 27. That's good. Total number of cases in this whole darn thing, 16,000. Do you still, Kevin, do you still not find that as a low number? Like since March of 2020? That's the total number of positive cases. I guess we don't. It seems
consistent with a pandemic, but I don't know how many people get the flu on it. I'm not trying to relate. I'm just talking as far as.
Yeah, I know. Don't go there.
I know. I'm not suggesting that it's just the flu.
No, it's not the flu.
But yeah, I don't know how many people would get sick out of 400,000 people in Niagara on an annual basis. So the numbers, no, they don't seem that low to me. 16,000 people all being infected with the same thing, to me seems like a considerable number.
I finally had to go to the wall and visit my stylist this week.
Wow, that was a car?
That was a car?
Yeah, he's got a lot of Coke cans on that muffler.
Sounded like a crotch rocket bike to me.
I know, that's what it sounded like. No, that was a car.
Anyway, I had to go to the hairdresser this week, so I went to Salon de Spouse.
Oh, she did a good job.
Yes, Salon de Spouse. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Now here, let me see. Are you willing to take off the hat?
No. Well,
here, hold on. I want to see what it reminded me of here.
Not too bad. Well, I got a little hat head going, but no, she did fine. She did all right.
Hold on, Lee.
What do you?
I'm a little behind, but
See, it's hard when you wear hats. Just
Here, your hairline there kind of is reminiscent, at least to me, of this right here.
oh yeah, yeah, Jim Carrey, my hero. All right,
Look at that right there. There's a striking resemblance.
all right, okay. I don't have those teeth though. Mine aren't quite that white. Well, not too bad, but not that white. All right. You guys, coming up, by the way, just to let you know what is coming up in the program, we're going to have Dave DeRocco joining us about 20 minutes after the hour, so everything is our approximate timing here. Dave DeRocco is president of the Port Weller Residents Association, and if I were going to title the segment that we're going to be bringing to you, it's Beaches, Beaches, Beaches. And that's pretty much what we're going to be chatting about. Been in the news a lot. I don't ever remember hearing so much stuff about beaches. Boy, man, COVID has certainly increased the awareness of what beaches we have around the area. That is for sure. So he's coming up at about 12:20. A little bit after 1 o'clock, Kevin Rempel is going to be joining us. He is a former Olympian and a world champion, Paralympian, and a world champion in his chosen sport from St. Catharines. And there's just like a quick one-sentence elevator description of what he does. I help human resource professionals increase human capital, managing change and develop resilience. We'll find out more about Kevin's initiatives and his history and what's going on. And we will talk a little bit after 1 o'clock today.
Yeah, and Lee, tomorrow, in conjunction with the City of St. Catharines, he's the keynote speaker at a mental health session designed and targeted for our youth.
Okay.
So pretty interesting. I've been pretty open on this program that my mental health hasn't been 100% through this pandemic. Never experienced that before. And I can only imagine not just youth and their mental health, but also their ability to identify that they're struggling. I don't know if my kids would be able to identify at a young age that anything's different.
No, it's normal state for them, and they might intrinsically or instinctively know that they're not comfortable for some reason. They don't feel well, or they don't feel. I know this is bad grammar, but you know what I mean. They don't feel like they're good, you know. But they can't verbalize it. They can't identify it because they don't understand it. So they figure this is the new normal. And they don't even identify it that way. So there's a lot of stuff. I don't think there are too many people, Kevin, that have escaped some sort of period in time during this whole COVID thing where they haven't felt less than pleased with themselves or with what's going on. Every now and then, I can't describe it. I can't explain why. There's no real reason that I can put my proverbial finger on. But I'll wake up one day and I'll take the dog out for the usual walk or have the usual breakfast or whatever it is, and for some reason, I just don't feel too well. Psychologically. Every now and then, and it catches you by surprise. And then I think, well, I should be fine. I don't have any serious problems. My problems are first world problems. I'm not starving in Ethiopia. My kids are okay. And I mean, what am I feeling down about? And then I feel guilty for feeling that way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I've never been in less control of my emotions than I am right now. I'll tell you this, Lee. It's my birthday today, and I cried already today.
Wow.
And I cried in a depressed state. I don't know why. I'm no longer in control, and I want a way out. I don't know what that is, and I'm borderline seeking attention. So,
okay.
And I'm not. Trust me. I'm not jumping off anything. I'm not harming myself. I'm not harming my family or anything like that. This is within my own head, but I don't know how to shake it. So,
well,
anyway, that's
Dr. Lee is unfortunately not in the office today, but there are people that are. So, we always talk about it. Reach out.
Yeah. Maybe a nice day at the beach would do me good, Lee. If only I get there early enough.
You have your pass. I applied for my pass this week.
You did. Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Catharines.ca.
After we talked last week, I thought, well, I don't go to Sunset Beach too much. Never did when it was municipal or whatever. But we hike on over to Lakeview Park, Lakeside Park sometimes. And so I thought, well, what the heck? It's free. I'll do the pass thing. And I wanted to see how it worked, and it was very, very smooth. Joining us on the program right now, speaking of beaches, there's a smooth segue for you, Port Weller dweller. Love the T-shirt. David DeRocco is president of the Port Weller Residents Association, and that's a pretty snappy-looking T-shirt you got there, bud. Oh, gosh, I can't hear him.
Are you muted there, buddy?
There we go. How's that?
Got you now, Dave.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
Hey, no.
This has been a fundraiser for the association the last couple of years, and just a point of pride for Port Weller dwellers.
Okay, so Dave, there's been probably more attention paid to your area over the last little while than there has been in the last 10 years all put together. It's just, you guys have been under the spotlight a lot. Why are we here? Why are we talking to you? What's going on?
Well, there are genuine issues, primarily brought on by COVID the last 2 years. The beach has been one of the only places during lockdowns where people felt they could gravitate towards and actually enjoy themselves on the shoreline. Residents right along the beach in Port Weller West definitely have real concerns. There have been people relieving themselves on their lawns. People all across West Port Weller have had garbage tossed on their lawns, people changing in front of their lawns, cars parked blocking driveways. These are the real issues that you've heard the loud voices complaining about, and concerns as well about safety on the beach. These are real issues, and it's the reason you're hearing about it.
So what would you like to see happen? I know this past week St. Catharines City Council has put a temporary limit on the number of people that can be on Sunset Beach, now where you guys are in Port Weller. I don't know that we can legislate ourselves out of our problems, but nevertheless, that is the case right now, where we have a short-term plan to limit the numbers on the beach. How's that going to work, do you know?
Well, it's going to work in a very ineffective manner. The Port Weller Residents Association doesn't support the capacity issue, and to be honest, we're not in full alignment in the neighborhood. The people right along the beach are the most effective, and they have valid complaints. But at the same time, shutting the beach down at 7 o'clock on a bright, warm, hot Saturday afternoon because of some vague and arbitrary capacity number is not a good solution, right? Like, even there was a quote from one of the city members in the paper the other day that said that they're determining capacity based on cars in the lot and then a view of the beach, which is kind of ridiculous, because the beach is said to have parking for 150 cars, but it's not properly delineated. There's sand on a lot of the areas, so there's never 150 cars in there. And if you potentially went by cars as a capacity number and each car had one person, then you're saying the capacity is 150 people. Unreasonable, kind of ridiculous.
It seems like with this, when conversations about things like public beaches, not just public beaches, a lot of different things that involve how society comes together. I have to be perfectly honest, Dave, sometimes it seems to me like we get paralysis through analysis. You know, we're just trying to micromanage everything. Should the city be involved in micromanaging beaches, or if they are, how should they be involved? What What would the residents association, how would you people like to see this thing adjudicated?
Well, that's a hard thing to find consensus on. I mean, there's people who question our ability to represent the voices in Port Weller.
Yeah.
We're an elected volunteer board with over 250 years of residence in the neighborhood. So
right.
I feel we have a valid opinion on how the beach has been managed over the years. But, you know, the city wants, and rightfully so, to generate some revenue to pay for costs of maintenance and upgrades. There is a vision plan for Sunset Beach that is taking a little time to enact. The washroom didn't get built this year because of COVID, although it's under construction. So there are positive things happening with the city's involvement, where we as a residents association, we align with the causes of and the concerns of the people who live along the beach. But south of that street are 135,000 residents of the city of St. Catharines who should have access to the beach. And to your point, micromanaging isn't going to help. You're talking about behavioral issues from youth who have been locked down for 18 months. Right. Should they be fighting on the beach? No. Should they be drunk after hours? No. But should the beach be shut at 7 o'clock on a hot Saturday afternoon? No, it shouldn't.
Dave, there was a story that I came across this past week, and it involved the fact that the police, because there was a lot of comment from residents, etc., about people drinking and driving, or like public inebriation and things of that nature. And it was very interesting because the numbers that the Niagara Regional Police Service publicized or published did not support the fact that there was widespread alcohol abuse in the area. As a matter of fact, they laid very, very few charges. And these things seem to perhaps be isolated. Am I wrong here, or is it more widespread than the numbers support? I was a little confused.
Yeah, 450 cars went through the ride trap on Arthur Street. There was not one impaired driving charge laid. There was one alert, so there was a 3-day suspension. That does not really seem to indicate if a beach is full of young, irresponsible, drunken people.
No, it doesn't.
So, but that doesn't, I've been going back and forth on social media already today from an earlier interview I did, that people feel that we're not really seeing all the poor behavior. I've lived down here almost my whole life. Behaviors over the years in Port Weller on the beach have not always been great, but it's summertime. There's going to be noise. There's going to be rambunctious youth and people having fun. Residents at no time should have to suffer abuse. But when it comes to
I agree.
Complaining about loudness on the beach after 7 o'clock at night, I mean, come on, it's June. This is the days of the longest months of the year.
That's when people want to get out and have some fun and hoot and holler a little bit, and that's the way it is. One of the stories as well that was disturbing was the discovery of flattened tires along a couple of the roads that have parking access to the beach. Now, were the cars in question parked legally, or not that it justifies flattening somebody's tires? Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to find a justification for it, but I was just wondering if there is an issue with regard to where legal parking is allowed or where it shouldn't be allowed. You understand where I'm going with this?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a small cul-de-sac where I guess some tires were deflated. I'm not sure if they were parked illegally or blocking driveways, or if it was just a response to somebody who didn't like cars on their street. The city last year, after the chaos on Canada Day, changed parking in the neighborhood on one side of each of the 7 streets that are immediately adjacent to the beach. I know I live on Grandview. I can no longer park in front of my house. I see the wisdom of that, because when cars were parked last year, it would have been very difficult for emergency vehicles to get through. In fact, in front of my own house, I saw 2 trucks with jet ski trailers kind of come in front of my house, and neither of them could back up. The streets just don't allow it.
Okay.
So they have addressed parking. The implementing paid parking in the beach area has certainly driven more cars out into the neighborhood. But that's a tag and tow issue. If they're parked illegally, it's really a parking enforcement issue.
Right. Right.
It happens. It happens around soccer fields. I know I play slow pitch and I go to Joe McCaffrey Park. There's people out there tailgating after games. These are things that are they appropriate? Maybe not, but these are things
that's been going on forever.
Yeah.
that's like a beer in the hockey locker room after the game, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it just happens. A couple more things I want to check on with you, Dave. Do you and your group, or just you personally, or whatever, feel that this will ease once the COVID situation eases? Because it seems to me that we weren't having these discussions in 2019.
Well, last year there was an influencer who wrote a wonderful article that Sunset Beach is a Hawaiian-style tropical paradise with great shopping in the neighborhood. That amplified the awareness of the beach for certain. And I even brought it up. There's another group on social media that are the Friends of the Beach, and they post a beautiful picture of the sunset every single night. So that amplifies the interest in the beach. I know as an association, I speak for them as president, but we do talk to formulate our opinions of the beach. I've lived down here 59 years, and my personal opinion is yes, it will go away. And you know what? It goes away if the temperature is under 70. It goes away if it rains. It goes away if it's not June, July, or August.
Yeah. It's
a temporary seasonal activity on the city's largest outdoor playground that is waterfront. And my concern, and the residents' concern, is that if you continue to complain, it's okay to have concerns and have the city address them, but if you continue to complain, you force the city to act. And one of the actions might be to charge people. And I personally believe the waterfront and our parks, it would be the only park in the city where people would have to pay to access. We're going woods, short hills.
Dave, I can't disagree with you there. We just get to the point where people expect their municipal government to legislate them out of all of their concerns, and that's just not efficient. It's not sustainable to do that, in my humble opinion. Now, I have another issue to bring up with you, and we're going to move away from the beaches for a second. And I have to admit right off the bat here, I am not totally informed as to the details of this issue. But I understand in your area or with your association, and I could be understanding completely wrong, so let me know if I'm way off base here, is the fact that there are some developments planned, or there's an apartment building or condos or something that is an issue in Port Weller. Could you let me know if I'm off base here, or if not, what's going on?
No, you're accurate. On the east side of Port Weller, we are a community divided by the canal, but we do represent East Port Weller as well, which has its own unique set of challenges. There is a new subdivision development being built called the Bromley subdivision. It is being constructed at the tail end of Northrop Crescent, which, if you're familiar with Happy Rolf's, if you come in off Reed Road, you drive down past, I think it's Amber Staircase, into the neighborhood. Yeah. That has always been an access point into a secondary access point other than Broadway. So Broadway is the primary access into the neighborhood, and that seems to be a secondary access. The construction of the neighborhood, which could include 30 or more townhouses, as well as a 5-story apartment building, which has been bandied about. The neighborhood is concerned about Northrop being temporarily shut for the real issue is asking the construction firm to only use that access, because much like Westport Weller, the streets are narrow. There's a brand new park there with pickleball and tennis. To have all that heavy construction equipment plowing through that neighborhood would be so disruptive for the next 2 years. So on Monday, we're going to City Council, and we're just asking the city to enact a temporary bylaw to ask construction just to come in off Northrop. It would alleviate the crush in the neighborhood and the disruption and the safety. So that's
all right.
the issue
So
there.
so it's not that it's not that it's one of those NIMBY things like not in my backyard. It's more a procedural issue than it is a development issue.
It really is. I mean, the NIMBY issue was more around Airbnbs and some other things, which every community in this city has to deal with.
All right.
But
Well,
this
that
is
seems
very specific.
It seems
safety.
reasonable to try to develop an area with as little disruption as possible. Again, I'm not there, but it seems reasonable to me.
You would think it should be a common sense decision by the city, and you would think it would be an easy one to appease the fears and the safety concerns that residents in that neighborhood have.
David, I hope in this case that common sense is common. It not always is.
No.
But hopefully in this case it is. Anything else while you have the floor here? Anything else that you would like us to know about what's going on in Port Weller or some of the issues that are there in your area of Niagara? Because I would hate to miss something that we could chat about.
No, I mean, it really is a unique area of this city, and it was a neglected area for years. Like many cities with waterfront, it was not always looked at as the prime real estate that it is now. You can look at Hamilton, you can look at other cities. I know as a kid down here, we used to play ice hockey on my street because it was never plowed, sanded. So with the awareness that's happened over the last couple years, we really believe that it's COVID driven. In fact, 3 years ago, you couldn't even get on the beach because Lake Ontario water levels were such that 3/4 of the beach were flooded. So,
well, I mean, Port Weller used to be known as nothing more than the home of the dry docks, and that was about it.
Yeah, and it is a unique neighborhood now.
Yeah.
For people who want to stay in touch with what's going on down here, we do publish a monthly digital newsletter called the Foghorn that tries to present a balanced opinion about all the issues down here, including, you might remember, we fought piles of clinker dust that were on the pier a couple years ago.
Yes, I do remember that, yeah.
That was kind of the first salvo and galvanized. It's funny, that issue galvanized the neighborhood, and they were truly supportive of the Residents Association and the role we play.
All right.
Because of the divide along the beach, now we're sort of pariahs. Or I was going to say, you said this segment was all about beaches, beaches, beaches. I was going to say it's a little about sons of beaches, but I didn't know.
Well, yeah, I wanted to go a little bit further than that, but you know, show business being what it is, it just sort of had a nice ring to it.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, David DeRocco, thank you very much. Great conversation with a Port Weller dweller, and hopefully your summer starts to mellow out a little bit, and people can still have some fun, and everybody enjoy themselves as this COVID thing starts to lessen anyway. Thanks for taking the time out, David, and explaining this stuff to us. And by all means, anytime that you want to come back on the program and give us an update about what's going on, don't wait for an invitation, just click in, okay?
I love that. Thanks for the opportunity to chat with you today.
All right, my pleasure. Thanks. Take care. Kevin, it always concerns me when, and I guess municipal people are trying to do what they do, staff's trying to do what they do at the direction of councils, etc. But it seems like there's such minutia involved that this merry-go-round can just continue and drive you nuts if you try to legislate every little activity. And I just think, and again, it's me, whatever. I think trying to legislate behavior in every little instance is ludicrous, and it's a no-win situation.
I'd agree with that. It's a no-win situation. Right now, I think St. Catharines painted themselves into a corner, and now they're painting themselves into a tighter corner. Instead of undoing a mistake that maybe they made, what they're trying to do now is to legislate us into adhering to non-residents have to pay.
Yeah.
Local residents have to get passes. Last year was pretty straightforward. If you lived in St. Catharines, you were allowed at the beach. If you didn't, you weren't.
Yeah, but before that, before the whole COVID thing, you want to come to our beach? Come to our beach. Now, the same things are happening in like Nickel Beach in Port Colborne, and some of the other beaches in Niagara are having issues with accessibility and all that kind of stuff. So it's not just St. Catharines where we have beach issues.
Yeah, it's definitely not unique. And you look at Port Colborne and Fort Erie; they're all coming up with their own solutions.
Yeah.
A lot of it is paid parking. In many cases, you have to plan your trip in advance, and maybe that's just us becoming more and more of a bigger city, where stuff like this is commonplace. As much as we try and resist. That said, Lee, I will say that neither you or I understand all of the issues that municipalities are dealing with.
Oh, of course not.
When they put this into place. So as much as it's easy for you and I to say, why don't you just make it for locals only like last summer?
Yeah.
Well, maybe there's bigger issues at play there that weigh into the overall decision.
Yeah. Or just put ropes around the whole thing and let everybody fight it out.
Yeah, but,
I'm kidding.
Now, interested to hear from Dave. And by the way, I would take a front row seat on that. If that's what we did, put a ring around everybody, let them fight it out.
Yeah, let them go for it. Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there for that. Lee.
Yeah, St. Catharines UFC. So listen, I learned a lot actually chatting with Dave, and to be fair, a number of these residents associations can get fairly militant in their actions and their views. I felt pretty good about the conversation with Dave because I was having a conversation with a very reasonable, well thought out argument for their area. And I was expecting, when I brought up the condo development and those kinds of things, I was expecting some sort of, we don't want any of that here. I expected almost a Niagara-on-the-Lake type debate, which you get when it comes to anything over 2 or 3 stories. In Niagara-on-the-Lake, you have these development debates. But all it was about construction equipment access. That's pretty reasonable, I thought.
I'll tell you this, Lee, as in our company, WeeStream, we provide live streams. I don't think anybody in Niagara has sat through more council meetings than me, personally, in the last 6 years.
Actually, if you ran for any one of the city councils in the Niagara region, you'd probably serve them very well. You know more about this stuff than they do.
And I will say that...
You do?
Well, I do, and the process is quite open. And if you understand what the process is, and you register to be a delegate, and people wonder, what's that, a delegate? It just means that you're going to present and speak before city council, and you can have your voice heard. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to necessarily listen to you, but if you have an approach like Dave did, where you're reasonable, you're well thought out, you're not saying no to development, let's just have responsible development.
Yeah.
And you listen as much as you speak, you can actually affect change.
And they're not even objecting to the development.
No.
All it is access of equipment.
And I guarantee
that's
you,
fairly reasonable.
I guarantee you, when David goes before St. Catharines City Council
They'll
with the same
be,
reasoned approach,
Yeah.
he'll likely get what they want. And a lot of times it takes that. It takes local residents to say, hey, this is what's going on in our local
In
area.
a well thought out, reasonable presentation kind of way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was.
So.
I'm impressed, and I'm not that easily impressed.
I've never seen one council that wasn't moved by a reasonable delegate.
Yeah, like because I can just imagine. I mean, sitting around the curve, saying, "Anybody have a problem with this?" No, probably not. Now, the construction company, the developers, who knows if they have some issue with not being able to have access or whatever. That's a whole procedural thing. Anyway, enough said on that. What I do want to do is take just a moment out here again to thank our sponsors. We've been so jammed with content here today. This is Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. We are powered by WeeStream, Kevin Jack, and Brandon Scram, who developed this company. How many years ago now, Kev?
2015, so 6 years strong.
6 years strong. The highest tech streaming company in the country. We are fueled by Gales Gas Bars, and there you see them supporting June as National Pride Month, and we appreciate the fact that Gales is our primary and title sponsor and fuels this program, and has done since day one of season 2. Also, we're going to be talking with Jessica Friesen sometime in the near future, and it's entirely on her time frame. She is publishing or has published a book. She's just waiting for the artwork and the packaging and that. And it has to do with a very, very, very dark and yet interesting period in her life. It deals with postpartum depression. And here is a strong, young business woman running a major company. She's a CEO of Gales. And a number of years ago, she went through, Kevin and I were talking about various stages of depression a little bit earlier, and this is one that is often hidden. A lot of women don't want to admit to the fact that because they had this wonderful event, being the birth of a child, that they are suffering as a result of it. I don't think any woman feels comfortable confessing that, but it's a very, very common thing. And Jessica's book, I believe, is going to go a long, long way to help women feel healed as a result of this. So when it's time, when the book is available and have her out, we'll have her step outside her CEO role at Gales and talk to us as a mom of now a 14-year-old boy who's just a great lad. Eddie is a sweetheart and a great hockey player, Kevin. Great hockey player. Anyway, that's an aside.
I miss hockey, Lee.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that this phase 2 is going to help us out. It's going to maybe help it all out. Is there a summer hockey league you could play in?
I'm playing in all of them.
Okay.
If there's one out there, I'm signing up for them all. I miss it so bad.
All right. So we'll get Jessica on when she feels the time is right to promote the book. We don't want to promote it before it's available, but that is a totally separate role from her supporting this program, but we appreciate the fact that that is the case. Also, to Performance Heating and Air, Carlo, he jokingly mentioned to Kevin a couple of weeks ago that he was going to have to cancel his sponsorship because he's way too busy since advertising with Niagara 411 Live. Anyway, Performance Heating is saving your family money because they have families too right here in Niagara, so they want you to be aware of that. Performance Heating and Air. You have any issues in that area of your life, remember that name. Enwick, Niagara's local high-speed internet provider. Larry Chartier and the group for supporting us. Thank you very much. They service both rural and urban customers across the region. They're the region's largest rural provider. Oftentimes companies like this, and Enwick in particular, might get sort of fogged up, if you will, by the big guys like Shaw and Rogers and Bell and TELUS and all these places. Well, this is a Niagara-born and bred high-speed internet provider that you should check out. They offer business services up to a gig per second, a 100% unlimited service, no contracts, etc. So, and especially, and I know they do urban as well, but especially if you happen to be in a rural setting. Sometimes we've experienced interviewing people here on the program that have connections that might not be as clean as they should be, and what can help you with stuff like that. All right. Okay. And Verge Insurance Group, home, auto, whatever insurance needs you have. Another Niagara born and bred industry. Mark Shirk, thank you for supporting this program as well. So those are our sponsors, and that's it. And I want to thank WeeStreem for finally giving me complete and total control of my office down the street. That
was a nice addition. Good to see that today.
That's awesome. Now I only have to pay rent to one person. It's great. Coming up a little bit later on the program, a little bit after 1 o'clock today, is Kevin Rempel. He is a Paralympic athlete and a world champion, has quite an interesting story, and he is involved in other local things here that we talked about earlier before, and there's the graphic there. He is helping human resource professionals increase human capital. This is a guy that has a story to tell and can help inspire you and your people.
Yeah, he's also a world champion and a Paralympian, and once a world champion, once a Paralympian.
Did I not say that?
You probably did.
I'm
reiterating that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
At the risk of repeating ourselves. And it's Kevin Jack's birthday, by the way. Forgive him. He's,
I'm thinking of other things.
Yeah.
You know what, Lee?
You got a celebration? You doing anything later?
Yeah, I think I'm going strawberry picking at Bryan Farms in Fenwick, and I love strawberry picking. It always coincides with this time of year, and not that I do it every year on my birthday, but it always gives me a big smile and a full belly. So
okay, good.
Nothing.
Because you were talking about being a little bit depressed. If there was anything that was going to depress me, it would be going strawberry picking.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love it.
I used to pick strawberries with my sister, and when I was a kid, just in the field across from our house. We grew up in sort of a semi-rural atmosphere in Black Creek, and they were wild though. They were the little teeny weeny ones that grew like this far off the ground, and oh man, they were so. When I go into a supermarket and I see these great big things that look more like apples than strawberries, I'm sort of not there. But anyway, that's me. I'm not big. I'm not a big fruit guy. I'm not a big fruit guy. I like grapes. I like liquid grapes. I like that.
A lot of people from across Niagara have that experience growing up. I've talked to a lot of people over the last couple of weeks that said, of your generation, saying that, we grew up and we would go to this field or that field and we would pick wild strawberries. I love the strawberry warmed by the sun. Nothing beats that.
Oh, yeah.
Fresh off the vine. Maybe I'll bring you in a quart or something, Lee. Bring it home to the
my
family.
wife would love that.
There you go.
Yeah. So where do you do your strawberry picking?
We're going to Bryan Farms in Fenwick on Foss.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's where we go every year. There's lots of places to go.
All right. Kevin, we wanted to.
Please will be quiet here for a second. There we go.
Well, this is what you get when you open up a little bit after COVID. This is the streetscape. This is why we do this. It's like, hello, what are you guys doing in there? We get a lot of that. What's going on? No,
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, love.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 o'clock. All right. Bring 3 of your closest family members.
Bars all hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something I know you wanted to get to today, and that is, I'll say an update, but I don't know if it was an update of sorts, of that terrible double homicide from the Airbnb during the lockout. It took us all by storm.
Kevin, it is your talent that you read my mind as well, because that's exactly where I wanted to go to next. The 2 young ladies that were murdered at a short-term rental in Fort Erie. The investigation is still going on. The NRPS received a 911 call, of course, regarding a disturbance at that residence in the town. Upon arrival, they discovered 20-year-old Juliana Panunzio of Windsor, 18-year-old Christine Crooks of Toronto, inside that residence with obvious signs of trauma. They were shot, actually. So there are a couple of things going on. They are asking for any assistance that you might be able to bring to bear, i.e. any sort of videos. Now, out there in the Niagara Parkway where that took place, I don't think there were an awful lot of security cameras or surveillance type things going on. And there is a reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for those murders. There's the contact right there. And you can also, as per usual, contact Crime Stoppers, and that is a total anonymous vehicle through which you can offer information on any crime that you might be aware of in any connection whatsoever. I'm pretty familiar with Crime Stoppers, having been involved with them in many communities across the country, and they are legitimate, and it does work, and your confidentiality is assured. Now, here's a piece of the video with regard to that case.
My name is
Steve Magistrali, and I'm the Staff Sergeant in charge of the Major Crime Unit for the Niagara Regional Police Service. A team of detectives continue to investigate the murders of 20-year-old Juliana Panunzio of Windsor and 18-year-old Christine Crooks of Toronto. This investigation started on January 19, 2021 with a phone call to 911 at 4:17 a.m. The caller reported possible shots being fired at a residence in the town of Fort Erie. Upon arrival, all the occupants appeared to have left. However, uniformed officers discovered the bodies of Juliana and Christine inside with obvious signs of trauma. An autopsy would later confirm that both girls died at the scene as a result of gunshot wounds. Investigators know that a group of individuals from outside the Niagara region attended this residence for a planned gathering. Events occurred inside that ultimately led to the deaths of Juliana and Christine. With the assistance of our Police Services Board, the Niagara Regional Police Service is now in a position to offer a cash reward of up to $50,000 to anyone with information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible. The Crooks and Panunzio families are grieving the loss of their loved ones and looking to police for answers. Who did this and why did it happen? We know there are people out there who can help us answer these questions. We know that there are people who were at the residence that night that can provide information to investigators to help us identify the person or persons responsible for these murders. This public appeal, now with a financial incentive, is for those people to come forward. Do the right thing, provide information to investigators, help us solve this heinous crime, and help us bring closure to two grieving families.
All right. Juliana Panunzio.
Our Juliana had a beautiful soul. She was taken from us 4 months ago on January 19th, 2021.
That's her
She
family.
was murdered. Someone decided to take her life, and in turn, we lost a daughter, a sister, a granddaughter, a niece, a cousin, and a dear, fiercely loyal friend. A piece of us will forever be missing. It's an emptiness I hope you will never know.
And we ask ourselves why? Why? How can this be? And how can our fiery little girl be gone? Who has taken her from us? Who has ripped a hole in our hearts so big it hurts? Who?
Juliana was like a permanently lit candle, like just fiery, like always had the light inside her.
She was funny and silly and goofy. She liked to dance. She was loved.
We know somebody knew something at that party, saw what happened. Please come forward. We could really use some closure.
Sad. Okay. So, yes, as you hear on all of those crime dramas, it is true. Somebody knows something. If you're that somebody, man up.
It's a shame. There's people that were at that party that know exactly who's responsible.
Absolutely.
And they're keeping their mouths shut.
Absolutely.
And it's a shame.
Yeah. Kevin, do we have somebody in the green room?
No, we don't.
We don't?
So we're waiting. Kevin should be coming in about 10 minutes' time.
Okay. Boy, it's.
But I'll reiterate, Lee, that anybody's welcome to join the show at any time.
Yeah.
The Zoom link is right there, and if you got something to talk about, if you've got an issue, if you want to talk about the show, or you just want to say hi, by all means, we are live Thursdays, noon to 1:30, and anytime in that window, you're welcome to come on the program and just talk about what issues are affecting you.
Yeah, and I want to, not to put too fine a point on it, but, and yeah, we do reach out to folks to have a conversation, like we did with Dave DeRocco and like we did with Kevin Rempel, who's coming up. But these are sort of isolated times because we think these are things that generally deserve to be talked about in your community. I mean, keeping in mind there are 12 municipalities in Niagara. And just because we're sitting in the window of a St. Catharines eatery on St. Paul Street doesn't mean that we are just intrinsically St. Catharines focused. We really are, here's an overused word these days, inclusive wherever possible for Niagara. The Fort Erie issues, the Wainfleet issues, the Port Colborne issues, the Grimsby issues, and man, Kevin, by the way, speaking of that, so my point was, before I go there, my point was, if you are from anywhere in Niagara and have something to say or something to inform us about or clear up, because there can be many misconceptions about what you see and hear or read in the news or whatever, we can be your sounding board and your clearinghouse for those kinds of things. When I hit on Grimsby, it reminded me, Kevin, when we did the Grimsby on the Lake piece. And we posted a snippet, and that's what we're going to do going forward on Niagara 411. By the way, thank you, Nick, as always, for your support, and Nick's mom. We wouldn't be here without you, so thank you very much. And also, but where I was going with this is the fact that we need whatever information we can from you. But the Grimsby thing was really interesting, because when Kevin put that graphic up on the screen a couple of weeks ago, and it was that nice little rainbow sign over a section of the Grimsby business area, and it was Grimsby on the Lake. Kevin, I thought, is that a real thing? And apparently it is. Grimsby on the Lake is a real thing. Niagara-on-the-Lake, do you have an issue with that? I don't know. But we got the other point here is the fact that we got a lot of comments about that, Kevin. It was quite so. What we're going to be doing every week now is putting smaller segments of the program. We realize hanging around for 90 minutes a week is sometimes not that easy to do. So there it is. So we'll be putting smaller segments of the program up over the course of the week, so that you can kind of watch the program in bits and bytes if you like. We love to have you here live when we do it on Thursdays. But if you don't catch it live, then of course you can go back and see some of these pieces we put up. But there is, and there was a lot of comment about that. Some positive, some negative. I'm not sure that I'm really a fan of those great big condo things that you see from the Queen Elizabeth Highway that block the view of the lake. I don't know. I don't know. Frankly, I think the architect could have been more creative. I think.
I'm all for developers.
Me too.
Giving them sexy names that are going to be attractive, but I think they overstepped the bounds calling it Grimsby on the Lake. They're obviously trying to draw attention and to Niagara-on-the-Lake and draw some sort of parallel. Niagara-on-the-Lake, steeped in heritage. Grimsby on the Lake, a bunch of condos and townhouses.
Yeah, I don't know.
But hey, kudos to them. They came up with a very sexy and desirable name, and now anybody that lives there can tell people that they live in Grimsby on the Lake. And isn't that what you want to tell people? Oh, we're moving. Where are you moving to? Are you moving to Grimsby? Oh, no, I'm moving to Grimsby on the Lake. Oh. All right then, okay.
Isn't that the place where they limit construction to 30 stories?
Until the next one. Lee, while we're waiting for Kevin here, we got a couple of... sorry, we do have somebody coming in the green room, so we'll get to that in a second. While they're setting up, a couple of good news stories came through Nick and Niagara 411.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to touch on the water balloon fight or the...
Pick one.
Let's start with the water balloon.
Pick one. I'm good. Yeah. So this lady shows up to Maple Park in Welland and handed out, as you can see there on the post, handed out what seemed to be an endless supply of water balloons. Now this takes time to do. But she handed out this large supply of water balloons to all the kids in the park. And of course, boom, 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 the kids would have a blast with that. But then hung around and cleaned up every little bit of balloon that was left behind, so that there was no muss, no fuss, no environmental impact or anything like that, no litter, and a little bit of kindness that went a very long way. And what a great thing for the kids to experience, seeing somebody just pop up and do that. And their parents will probably remind them of that. Remember that beautiful lady that came and gave you the water balloons? Yeah, you should be that person.
Anything beat a water balloon fight in the dead of summer? That's the best.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely the best.
Yeah.
A good water fight.
Do people run through sprinklers anymore, Kevin? Did you do that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, kids still do that. I did that as a kid. My kids are doing it just the other week.
We never had a pool. Even though I grew up through an era where a lot of people might have had pools, we didn't. But we had the sprinkler, and that was it. We'd have the kids over in the neighborhood and run back and forth, and that was about it.
Now, Lee, I just want to put out a message there to Kevin Rempel, our scheduled guest. I see you in the green room, and we'll get to you in just a second, but we've had somebody just click in. We always encourage people to join the program to talk about whatever's on their mind. So, Lee, without further ado.
Jim? Can you hear me? Are you muted?
We can't hear you at all, Jim.
Can't hear you, lad.
All right, just picking the audio source there. Looks like he's got a sophisticated setup.
Yeah. Jim? We got your picture. I can see your lovely face and your nice hat. We share our love of hats, but I don't hear you.
You know what? Why don't we do this? I'll just bump Jim back into the green room, and we'll get Kevin in here. And Jim, stick around, because when we're wrapped up with Kevin, we'd love to hear from anybody. We always encourage people to.
Yeah, sorry about that, mate. Just see if your audio's all clicked in there. Kevin Rempel is a Paralympic athlete and world champion. He is from St. Catharines, and he is, I'm assuming, going to join us momentarily. There he is. Kevin, let's see if we can hear you.
Yes, I'm here.
We got
How are you today, Lee?
I'm good. How are you doing, man?
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Excellent. So look at you with that great big KR shirt. You got your own branding and everything going there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's my full-time gig, so I should at least. I think that I should have something at least to make it pop.
Kevin, for those people that might be unfamiliar with your story, could you wind back the clock a little bit for us and fill us in on a little bit of the chronology of why we're talking to you today?
Sure. Yeah, the Coles Notes, without giving everything away, is just I'm a local Niagara native, born and raised. I'm known as a Paralympian in sledge hockey. But if you see me walking around today, first question is, why are you walking and playing in the Paralympics? And the reason for that is I was paralyzed when I was 23 years old on my dirt bike. Had to learn how to walk again. And that led me down the path of Paralympic sport, finding sledge hockey. And on top of that, my father was paralyzed in a hunting accident, fell from a tree, and ended up passing away 5 years afterwards by taking his own life. And so from the life events I had, I got just asked to do a talk once just for a fundraising event, and then I got asked to do it again, and that threw me into a speaking career. And post-sport, I wanted to continue to share my lessons, and COVID created this workshop called the Resilience Toolbox. And so tomorrow when we get together with the youth, what I'll be doing is not only sharing my story in greater detail to offer some hope and inspiration, but also share the mindset shifts, the tools, the tips, tricks, and strategies to help you make these mental shifts as quickly as possible, learning from the experiences that I've gone through.
That's an amazing story. So you were paralyzed, what, from the waist down, or?
Yeah, no feeling movement from the waist down, just about your bottom rib from that point.
And now, and how long ago was it that that your dad passed away?
So Dad passed away in 2007. He was injured in 2002, passed away in 2007. I was injured in 2006. So it's been about almost 20 years since everything started to really kind of go sideways, and about almost 14, 15 years since my accident.
What an amazing trauma for a family to go through. So, and I'm assuming that your father's situation was a huge catalyst for you to try to reach out and help others deal with some of these things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we get together tomorrow with the youth, what they'll hear, and anyone who can hear me speak, like I do a lot of work with corporate as well, and my story revolves so much more around the life lessons I learned through paralysis with my dad, through my injury. Like sledge hockey and Team Canada, Paralympics have helped put me on the map. But when we think about what's the really relatable stuff, it's like what's all the life lessons that it took to get there. And so a lot of the drive that I have in my life has stemmed from seeing my dad go through his challenges, like waiting to live his life. I knew I didn't want to wait to live my life.
Yeah.
He got injured at like the age of 52. You know, I don't want to give too much away, but my dad really struggled with a victim mentality about his situation, that life wasn't fair. And we all know life isn't fair, but we got to be able to take control of that. So, you know, Dad really helped influence me in a positive way through the difficult times, and that's what we're going to be speaking about tomorrow.
And of course, then he had to experience his son going through that trauma as well. That's tough. So tell us about tomorrow, Kevin. Is there still room and ways to get involved for people that want to experience your presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's a limit that I'm aware of on the attendance. We are super excited to be delivering a great session tomorrow. It's going to kick off at 6 p.m. I'm going to be delivering my keynote, followed by a small workshop with Sean from Pathstone Support in Niagara. And we'll be talking about habits, building on the keynote session. So if you haven't signed up yet, please do. I don't have the link handy. In fact, do you have the link handy?
We have it on the, we actually have it on the screen, Kevin. You can't see what we see or what we're posting to our viewers, but all of the links are on the screen right now on this show for people to click into, so that's cool.
Fantastic. Yeah, so if you haven't signed up, or if you have children that you know could benefit from this, or some neighbors, like, please register, please pass this on, let them know, because we're going to have a high energy, a lot of fun, and a highly interactive session as well together, and provide, like I said, the tools, tips, and strategies to help maintain their mental resilience and improve well-being. And
you do this from the comfort of your own computer screen as well. It's absolutely no effort required.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, the craziest thing during COVID for me was delivering a corporate session for about 230 people over the telephone, like a telephone call. That was the wildest one I've ever done. But
That's
cool.
If
you can't tell, I got a lot of energy. And even if it's going to be a Friday night, looking to bring it over on Zoom, and look forward to seeing everybody there.
That's awesome. Awesome. Kevin Rempel, thank you so much. You are an inspiration, just having the conversation with you. And in these days when these messages are almost more important than they've ever been, thank you for what you do, and good luck tomorrow with the seminar and the presentation. Hope it goes great for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lee. Really appreciate it, and talk to you guys later.
All right, man. Thanks, Kevin. We meet some amazing people on this program. To my other Kevin, it was kind of interesting this week. We had one Kevin talking to this Kevin about setting up an interview with another Kevin. We had like a triumvirate Kevin thing going.
I had to reply to an email that I was writing to two other Kevins. So I wrote the email and then summarized and said, okay, to summarize, Kevin's asking Kevin to loop Kevin into this email so that Kevin can be on Kevin's show. Kevin.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you managed to get it sorted out, because we ended up talking to the right Kevin.
Yeah, and boy, what a story he has to tell.
Oh my gosh. When you think about it, we all have lives that have speed bumps. Some have mountains to climb.
I'm telling you, world champion, that's a story. Paralympics, that's a story.
Yeah.
Paralyzed, that's a story. Father also paralyzed. Father takes his own life. You live through all that. You persevere through all that, and then you rise above it.
And we end up talking to this positive, smiling, well-adjusted professional. We go like, oh man, the resilience.
And you know what, Lee?
That is required.
Everybody that we've talked to on this program is either from Niagara or has a direct tie to Niagara, and it's amazing, you know. As we do week after week, show after show, we meet more and more incredible people from Niagara doing incredible things.
Did we get Jim back?
Yeah, we did. So let's see if we can work out the bugs on this one.
All right. James?
Yeah, let's test me first. Can you guys hear me?
We have you, my friend. We have you.
You know what happened, and I should have learned this by now. Whenever my daughter comes upstairs for one of her guides meetings,
yeah,
they make an adjustment on the Yeti microphone and everything goes to heck.
Well, it's a pleasure for you to click in. It's a nice surprise for me. Just in the interest of full disclosure, I didn't know whether Jim was going to be clicking in today or not. He kind of said he might come on. But Jim Ducharme is a gentleman, and I mean that in the truest sense of the word, that I met how long ago, Jim?
When did I first, because,
early 90s?
It had to be, because I graduated I was in Brockville in 84.
Yeah.
And
all right.
That meant that I spent 6 years trying to get out of there.
So Jim is an IT guy. You might call him a techno weenie, from what I remember. But we have not been connected in many, many, many years, and I'm glad that you found me and decided to click into the program. And we could go on talking forever about common broadcast experiences and people and all that stuff, but one of the, as I've said before, and sorry to keep you listening to me instead of talking, but one of the things I've said about Facebook and other social media for a long time now is anything can be used for good or evil. And one of the good things about Facebook is, or other social media platforms, is it can reunite you with someone that you felt you might have lost along the way. And such is the case with you and I, because we managed to connect on Facebook, I don't know, maybe about a year ago. And you brought me up to speed with what's going on in your life. And you got a lot going on in your life. And you got a couple of things going on that you wanted to share with us today. And I'm going to let you jump in and sort of take over wherever you want to start.
Do you want me to start the story from where Santa should have just shown up and then left, and that's not how it works?
No, I've only got till 1:30.
People are going to hate me for this because I won't be able to give you the name of this cancer. It's blasto is part of its name, so you know it's already bad.
Glioblastoma?
Yeah.
So it's the Gord Downie cancer.
Gord Downie and the drummer from Rush. And I got the news in a darkened hospital room with this beautiful nurse practitioner who had these lovely brown deep eyes that kept, it was like watching someone fill a well because they keep watering up. And she said, you know, there's nothing you could have done to put this in there. This is an extremely rare kind of situation. And I confirmed that it was Gord Downie's situation. Yeah. And she said, yeah. And I said, so when God decided he wanted me gone, he decided to send the best friggin' thing he had? And she said, well, I wouldn't call it the best, Jim, but this is the meanest, most voracious tumor on the planet. And it will just, what it does is it eats and grows. And she said, we took a chunk, it looks like it's about the size of a grapefruit, and we took 3/4 of it out last night. So.
And how long ago was that?
That's, I don't know if you can see the scar there, but it's
that
was Boxing Day, and they found me
this past Boxing Day?
They found me on Christmas Eve, and Rowan was going to be with me for Christmas. And
that's your daughter?
Yeah, my daughter. She's 12. And my wife came over, knocked on the door, no answer. She kept knocking on the door. No answer. And finally they got the cops in the house, and because they couldn't take permission from my wife because we're divorced. And she wouldn't do that because she respects, the limits. So, to make a long story short, I had no idea any of this was going on, but they got me down to, and you're going to love this, because for 5 years this man tried to kill me at work. I ended up down at Princess Margaret, Gary Slate's hospital.
Yeah.
So they got me in there, and they got me into to surgery on Boxing Day, and they told my friend that had they not got me in there then, I was done. Because this thing takes about a year to kill you. That's what it does. It just.
So what are you? I know you've had pretty good humor through this, which is difficult. But what? I guess I'll just ask you flat out, what's the prognosis, Jim? This glioblastoma that we have heard a lot about, mainly since Gord Downey, but it is not exclusive to him by any stretch. What's the deal? What's going on? Is there any hope? Are you done? What's?
It's wonderful for that girl named Nightbird or whatever it is on the singing show on TV to talk about. I have a 2% chance, but it's 2%. It's not 0, right? And if that gives her the courage to fight, then God bless her. I'll go through any door with her. But for me, I may have 6 months, I may have a year, I may have 2 years. Gord got 18 months. And
Okay.
I watched him. And I watched him on the last concert. And I'm sure you noticed because you're a music person. He was on the edge on that last concert. There were some notes that he just couldn't hit anymore because his voice was so overworked from the tour that it couldn't deal with it. And when I first came out of the hospital, there were things I couldn't do. I couldn't walk really well. And I lost my voice, my singing voice. I do a really good blues voice, and Joe Cocker's one of my best.
Yeah.
It took months for my radio voice to come back, my singing voice to come back. The worst part of it is because of the staffing at these hospitals, they have wonderful doctors that are just experts, but they don't have more than 15 minutes for a checkup with you.
Yeah.
And you got cancer, and you got so many different questions, and they're telling you, no, cancer can't affect the legs. Cancer can't affect your appetite. And what do you say? I mean, it's not like having an argument with your parents where you turn to them and say, screw this, I'm going to play baseball. Or,
now, Jim, as you mentioned, you've got a 12-year-old daughter. You're a divorced dad, so that makes you a single dad, as well as a cancer sufferer, etc. These are a lot of plates to keep spinning. How does your girl? How does Rowan deal with this?
Rowan is a huge Harry Potter fan. If you go to my website, you'll see the header there. It was drawn for her and me by one of the top Marvel comic book artists. He wanted to say thanks for some things when he found out I was sick. She's okay. We need to have the discussion. She knows Daddy's sick. She doesn't know Daddy's going to die. And my daughter, she asked me to make one promise to her. Just one. About a year ago. Mm-hmm. And that was to be at her wedding.
To be at her wedding? All right.
I'm going to break that promise.
Well, maybe not, Jim.
Maybe not. I mean, I was going to swear there, but...
Hang on to that vision, my friend. Listen, it took a lot of strength and courage for you to join us today. And again, it's a blessing that we were reunited. We'll talk more at some point. And you always know where to find me, all right?
Well, I do, and I have plans for, see what happens this summer. Although you'll be golfing on the damn beach, so I'll never be able to get a hold of you.
All right, man. Jim, thank you. Jim Ducharme, sufferer of glioblastoma tumor cancer in his brain, as well as a single dad, a divorced man, and the stories just keep on coming.
Now, he mentioned there the Nightbird. Did you happen to see Nightbird?
I did. I did.
I'll play some of it here. I mean, it literally drove me to tears.
I did see Nightbird on America's Got Talent. The Howie Mandel and what's his name thing. She is brilliant, and she started out by, they said, "How are you now?" "Oh, I'm fine." But
and the deal is, she has a 2% chance of living beyond. I'm not sure what the date was, and
an attitude. And this is the young lady that Jim Ducharme we just spoke with was talking about.
An original song too. I mean, it brought me to tears.
I moved to California in the summertime. I changed my name thinking that it would change my mind. I thought that all my problems, they would stay behind. I was a stick of dynamite and it just was a matter of time, yeah. Oh dang, oh my, now I can't hide. Said I knew myself, but I guess I lied. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. I wrote 100 pages, but I burned them all.
And it was really the comment that she made after that performance, when Cowell and Howie Mandel were speaking with her, that and I'm not going to try to quote it because I'll fracture it, but we can.
I don't feel right fast forwarding through this. It's so emotional.
No, let her go.
If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright. Oh, it's alright to be lost sometimes.
Wow. And that moment of silence afterward was like so impactful when she did that.
I mean, every once in a while, out of these shows come moments.
Absolutely.
Be it American Idol, Got Talent, The Voice,
when somebody like Stephen Cowell has that gopher in the headlights look. What an amazing young woman.
It's funny because singers come on and I think about authenticity. When you feel it, when it moves you, that felt like the most authentic thing I have heard this season.
That was surprisingly good. It was powerful, it was heartfelt, and I think you're amazing.
You gave me chills. I mean, your voice is so beautiful to listen to. It was beautiful all the way around.
Your voice is stunning.
It is.
Absolutely stunning. And I totally agree with what Howie said, about authenticity. There was something about that song after the way you just almost casually told us what you're going through, and,
You can't wait until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy.
That's the one. There you go, Kevin. Take that with you for the weekend. You can't wait till life isn't hard anymore to decide to be happy. And that's a young woman that is experiencing something very similar to the man we talked with before, a long time broadcast associate of mine that I had not seen in decades, and we reconnected through Facebook, and then I find out he is also terminal from a heartless, brutal disease called glioblastoma, and divorced, single dad, 12-year-old daughter that is not 100% sure about her dad's diagnosis. I mean, this is a lot to carry every day. So Jim, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for mentioning Nightbird, because it gave us some context in the fact that not everybody is standing on a stage like that and able to share their story. There are a lot of people that are suffering these things in isolation, or with a very small circle of friends that need people to reach out to them. And if you're in that situation, reach out to somebody. Reach out to somebody.
For me, it reiterated, Lee, how people touch other people and how your efforts are not lost. And here is this girl, I think she mentioned from California, if I'm correct, and Jim is, half a continent away, and he's moved and inspired by what she did.
Yeah.
So, your efforts are never lost.
Those experiences that people share are not good ones always either.
Now,
yeah.
So I was just going to let you know that to wrap up the program today, it's a new song by, I believe he would call himself a Lincoln resident, Ryan Lunn. Ryan Lunn, former, I think, Songwriter of the Year with the Niagara Music Awards.
Yeah.
And he recently put out a video called Down to Myself, 215 Indigenous Awareness Videos. So it speaks as to what it's about. It's very current, it's very of the day, and has a lot of images in the video as well, showing us Indigenous life in Canada.
And the name again?
It's Down to Myself by Ryan Lunn.
All right. Thank you, Dave DeRocco, for being on the program, Kevin Rempel for being on the program, Jim Ducharme, always. Sorry I smacked the microphone, very unprofessional of me. But thank you to you folks for being here. Gale's Gas Bars Limited, thank you for fueling this program. And supporting us, as always, Performance Heating and Air, Enwick, Niagara's high-speed internet service, and the Verge Insurance Group. And as always, birthday boy Kevin Jack, our executive producer, and makes me look and sound better than I deserve. But Kevin, it's always a pleasure working with you. I hope you have a fabulous birthday. And my friend, I hope you have a spectacular, notable year. And we'll look back on this and say, man, what a trip that was. Everybody, enjoy our music to play us off the stage today. We'll catch you for episode 25 in a week. Good weekend to you.
There's a bad wolf in my dog. There's a stranger in my